okay.
Quý vị ngồi.
Can you see how you sit?
Still.
Okay. Typically, what you want to do is have the knee lower than the hips. And so you may, take another bolster, boost it up. Everyone's going to be different depending on their hip shape and flexibility. There's about over 300 different type of hips shapes. So you have to play with that. And if you need to take to the bolster, and you can support underneath the thighs as well. Yeah.
Mình ngồi thiền đau chỗ nào, sau khi mình xả thiền xong mình soi cho đó nhiều chút.
So you say, like, wherever that you have pain, right after the meditation, rub it a lot.
Quý vị ngồi thiền thấy có an lạc, thấy vui không?
You find peace and tranquility in your sitting, or what do you find in your sitting?
Chúng ta ngồi thiền là chúng ta relax mind, relax body.
Anybody have any?
I'm still thinking a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of planning.
So when that occurs, when it's continuous like that, you recognize it.
Yes.
Just say in your mind, planning. When you're doing that, you're separating yourself from the planning mind. Right? And if you continue to do that, just say it out in your mind. And then, sometimes, it may not take very many. And you just come back to your point of focus. Right? We're not trying to empty the mind. We're not trying to force the mind in any way. We're trying to be present with what's going on. And we come back to a point of focus. That's all we're doing. Learning how to come back to focus. So we're training our mind to have concentration. Pay attention when you have difficulty in your sitting, that you don't have anger. But if you do have anger means dissatisfaction about your sitting, about your meditation. That's a form of anger as well. As long as you recognize it and note it, that's all you need to do. Just note dissatisfaction or wanting to be in some state or whatever it is, right? Wanting. Just recognize the mental state of yours, and then come back to the point of focus. Just coming back. So.
Hôm rồi chúng ta học câu kinh pháp cú thứ nhất. Hôm nay chúng ta tiếp câu thứ hai. Hai câu nó đối với nhau. Câu thứ nhất là trong các pháp tâm dẫn đầu, tâm làm chủ, tâm tạo tác tất cả. Nếu với tâm ô nhiễm, nói năng hoặc hành động, thì sự khổ sẽ theo, giống như bánh xe lăn theo chân con vật kéo. Hôm nay câu thứ hai là trong các pháp tâm dẫn đầu, tâm làm chủ, tâm tạo tác. Nếu đem tâm thanh tịnh, tạo nghiệp, nói năng hoặc hành động, thì sự an vui sẽ theo nghiệp kéo đến, như bóng theo hình.
Okay, so we started to learn about the Dhammapada Sutra. Have you learned about that? You have already?
Yeah, we went through it
Oh,
for
okay.
Dharma talks.
Oh,
We
okay,
had the
you have,
Dhammapada.
okay. Thầy nói có dạy mấy rồi. Okay. So yeah, last week was the twin verse, right? Talk about basically is that our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Suffering follows an evil thought, just as the wheel of a cart that follows the ox that draws it. Right? When we have when we become what we when we have joy, a good thought, then pure thoughts, or let me see there, joys follow pure thought, just as a shadow that follows the body. They never separate. So that's the basic tenet of that, of the twin verse.
Những câu kinh pháp cú của Phật dạy nó rất là thiết thực và rất là lợi ích nếu chúng ta học, tư duy rồi đem thực tập thì nó sẽ được lợi ích an lạc ngay nơi hiện tại.
So the Dhammapada, the twin verse, was taught in the Dhamma is very important in our liberation of the mind and in our lives. It's a very simple teaching, but very deep teaching, right? What it requires is for us to look at our mind deeply and understand it deeply, and recognize the pure and impure thought. That's where we gain from the practice, is to able to identify the impure thoughts. When we have impure thought, we stop the impure thoughts. When we have pure thoughts, then we contribute to the pure thought. We advance the pure thought, right? So what that requires is meditation. Meditation is part of that. Recognizing, just as if when we're learning, we focus on the breath, right? And then, as I said before, whatever thoughts come up, we recognize it. We're learning, training our mind, ourselves to be observant of our mind and see other nuances that occur within the mind. And from there, we recognize whether that mind thought is pure or impure. When it, in terms of pure and impure, what does that really mean? It means that pure thought will help us, lead us to nibbana, liberation. Impure thoughts are thoughts that take us away from that, strain our step towards nibbana. Right? So, in those aspects, what are the impure thoughts? You know, or what can become from that? What can come from the impure thought is what? Greed, delusion, and hatred. Those are the three factors that stop us from moving in towards our liberation. Right?
Khi chúng ta học lại từ câu và chúng ta nhớ tới lời Phật, chúng ta quay trở về Phật dạy 2 câu nói về tâm thiện và cái tâm ác. Khi cái tâm thiện, cái tâm ác nó khởi lên mà mình chạy theo rồi mình làm, khi mà nó trổ lên cái quả là cái quả khổ, cái quả bất an, nó bị stress, căng thẳng, ra là mình làm điều ác. Còn cái tâm mình nghĩ điều thiện, điều tốt, rồi thân mình làm điều thiện, điều tốt, rồi miệng mình nói ra lời thiện, lời tốt, thì cái sự an lạc, cái niềm vui nó sẽ đến với mình, giống như là mình đi, có cái bóng nó đi theo sát bên mình, không có rời.
So, the our action and our speech is dominated, is manifested from our thoughts, right? So when we have impure thoughts, we're going to have impure action, or unskillful action, or unskillful speech. When that happens, the consequences of that is suffering for ourselves. And versus a pure thought will brings pure speech or skillful speech, or skillful action, and that brings us like peace, tranquility, joy. Right? Just as in the parable, just as the shadow follows the body. Right? So what we manifest in our thoughts will manifest in our life, and how we live our life or experience our life, whether we suffer or we don't suffer, or we find peace, all from the seed of the thoughts. So it's very important to be aware of the thoughts.
Như chúng ta ngồi thiền, chúng ta tập làm chủ tâm của mình. Cái tâm mình vừa nghĩ chuyện này, nghĩ chuyện kia là chúng ta ngưng, chặn nó lại, không có nghĩ tiếp nữa, biết nó là giả, không có theo nó nữa. Thì khi mình ngồi thiền là mình tập mình làm chủ tâm của mình. Cái tâm mình vừa nghĩ với chuyện ác là mình kêu nó dừng, không cho nó nghĩ nữa. Rồi cái tâm mình vừa nghĩ thiền thì mình cho nó tiếp tục. Thì mình tập mới ban đầu đó, thì mình tập giữa thiện và ác, thì mình ngưng cái ác, mình cho nó phát triển cái thiện. Thì khi mình vừa nghĩ việc thiện, thân mình làm, miệng mình nói, thân mình làm, thì cái kết quả an vui theo mình, giống như là bóng theo hình. Cho nên cái ngồi thiền 30 phút, chúng ta đi thiền hành cũng vậy. Ngồi là chúng ta tập làm chủ tâm, sit down meditation, tập làm chủ tâm, walking cũng tập làm chủ tâm. Thì có những cái giờ phút mình thực tập như vậy, đến khi xuất duyên đối cảnh, gặp những cái việc nó sẽ đến, thì chúng ta sẽ sẵn sàng ngăn cái ác, làm cái thiện. Lúc đó tâm chúng ta được an lạc.
So what we're trying to do here is really, the gist of it all is to master our mind, right? Rather than to be a slave of our mind. As if a thought comes up and we just follow the thought and have it continue the thoughts, whatever it may be, then we are a slave to our thoughts. Right? But if we're able to see our thought and stop the thought, not necessarily stop meaning pushing it away, but recognize it and not let it manifest in terms of unskillful thought, then we become the master of our mind. Right? And similarly, when we sit in meditation, it gives us a calmness, so we are able to see subtle thoughts that comes up. There's no distractions, so we are able to help us to more manageable in observing our thoughts, being able to see our thoughts and manage it. When we're walking meditation, there's more distraction there, so it's a little bit difficult. But the technique is the same thing. Walking is still, we're just meditating. So when you're walking, don't let the mind wander off somewhere. See object as an object of see. Hear object as object of hear. Don't let it manifest more than that, right? So we're just experiencing, recognizing things through our senses, that's all. If, let's say we hear a bird and we start to think about the bird, or maybe it conjure up a memory of a beautiful bird in your past, somewhere, and you start to think about that. That's, you just being enslaved by the sound of the bird, right? So we want to stop that. We're learning to do that. Why? Because when we get into more difficult situation in life, then we've already trained our mind to hold off on reacting, right? So oftentimes it's our habit or our karma that we react to in difficult situation. Now, if we train ourselves to, in a more safe environment, calm environment, then we have that experience, that capability of controlling the mind. And when we walk in meditation, it becomes a little bit difficult, and we're able to train in that environment. That makes it a little easier when we come to a point of an experience where it's very challenging. Let's say an argument or whatever it may be, something traumatic that happens in your life. You don't get taken over by the experience itself. and you're able to watch your mind. In those instances, you're doing the same thing. You're watching your mind. If your mind is suffering, if you have suffering thoughts, unskillful thought, impure thought, you watch it and come back to your breath, come back to something. Give your time that micro moment to settle. That way you can see things more clearly and you'll find better solution to the situation rather than allowing the mind to run amok and all you do is just reacting based on your habits. Whether that habit is a manifestation of fear, anger, delusion, right?
Cho nên khi chúng ta ngồi thiền là chúng ta tập làm chủ tâm mình, và khi mình tập mình làm chủ tâm mình á, thì khi mình làm việc hay là mình tiếp xúc bên ngoài thì chúng ta sẽ bỏ ác làm lành. Mà khi bỏ ác làm lành á, như câu thứ hai chúng ta học á, thì sẽ vừa nghĩ lên cái việc làm lành thôi là cảm thấy chúng ta rất là vui, rất là happy. Và khi mà chúng ta miệng nói ra rủ nhiều người cùng làm việc lành thì người ta hoan hỷ, người ta làm theo á, thì ta cũng được cái vui. Mình làm lành, mình rủ cho nhiều người cùng làm lành, thì khi cái việc lành mà nó được thành công thì mình vui, người cũng vui. Hiện đời đây mình vui, nhiều kiếp đời về sau mình cũng được vui. Do mình cái ý mình nghĩ điều lành, miệng mình nói là lành, thân mình làm điều lành, cho nên cả ba thời hiện tại, tương lai đều được an lạc. Giống như là cái bóng mình nói, lúc nào mình đi đâu cái bóng nó cũng đi theo hết, không có rời hình. Cho nên nhớ tu là nhớ là mình được an lạc, nhớ tu là mình làm chủ tâm. Từ cái chỗ làm chủ tâm đó cho nên mình không có làm những điều ác, mình làm điều lành. Mà mình chuyên làm điều lành không á, thì lúc nào ý mình nghĩ cũng lành, lời nói mình cũng lành, thân mình làm cũng lành. Cho nên vừa nghĩ lên là trong lòng, vừa nghĩ lên là cảm thấy cái lòng mình nó an lạc, nó vui rồi. Rồi khi mà mình làm cũng vui. Rồi khi mình bỏ cái thân này, mình đưa cái thân khác. Giống như mình ở đây, mình làm ra tài sản. Dẫu như mình giờ mình không có ở đây nữa, mình đi ra tiểu bang khác, thì cái tài khoản của mình vẫn đi qua tới bên tiểu bang khác. Thì mình lấy cái tài khoản đó ra, mình lấy ra mình sử dụng, mình xài vẫn được. Thì mình tu tập cũng vậy, mình làm điều lành. Khi một con người mất, một đời của người sanh ra, khi mà mình làm cái điều thiện và cái điều ác, khi mình mất thì cái điều thiện điều ác nó theo mình. Cho nên một người mà có trí tuệ thì hướng về Phật, nghe theo lời Phật dạy, ứng dụng theo lời Phật dạy, thì hiện đời niềm vui, nhiều kiếp về sau vẫn vui. Cho nên quý thầy tăng ni điều hay thương là ngồi thiền là để cho, thứ nhất là tập làm chủ tâm của mình, cái thứ hai đó là luôn luôn lúc nào cũng sống đầy đủ từ bi và trí tuệ. Cho nên làm tất cả mọi việc là tự lợi và lợi tha.
So, since our speech and action affects others as well, when we practice on doing good deed or skillful speech, skillful action, then we enjoy the fruit of that as well as others that we affect gets to enjoy that as well, right? And when, for example, if we bring peace to your neighbor, what's going to happen, right? The only thing the only fruit that you're going to get back is peace from them, right? And versus if you bring hatred or anything to your neighbor, where is the fruit of that? You're going to have a bad neighbor. You're going to have a stressful time living with your neighbor, right? So how do we recognize whether we have bad thoughts or good thoughts? Watch yourself in all aspects, in your physical, in mental, emotion. Do you have stress in any of those? If you have stress in any of those, look back at your mind. See where those are manifesting from. What type of thought that caused those things, right? And see if you can recognize that and change the behavior or change the thought. Or maybe take some time and just look at it really clearly. And if you give yourself time, most likely you will be able to see clarity through that. You'll see better ways to deal with things in a more gentler way that can bring peace and happiness. Right? And since the body is only a vehicle, what we manifest, what we do in this lifetime, will affect your next lifetime. We carry that on. It's all in the mind, right? So stress is in the mind. Suffering is in the mind. We're not talking about physical suffering where you get cut. That's something different. That's the suffering of the body itself. But there's the suffering of the mind that can follow that if you're not skillful, right? The suffering of the mind is the unnecessary things that we often react to, right? Let's say, for example, if I cut myself, physical suffering, okay? But if I'm unskillful, what do? I beat myself up. Why was I so stupid? On and on. Now, suffering creates suffering, right? Physical suffering creates the mental suffering. Instead of taking care of your hand, you're beating yourself up and you're bleeding, right? The more skillful way is take a pause and recognize I'm in pain, okay, and have that compassion. My body's in pain, and you take care of that. And when you focus on only taking care of that, then the unskillful thought cannot exist at the same time, right? So even bodily pain, those are the point where we can practice our Dharma, right? Oftentimes, when we have physical pain, what do? We want to get rid of it. Why do I have? Why does it have to happen to me? What kind of mind is that? That's a mind of anger, right? Mm-hmm. And what comes from what manifests from anger? More suffering, right? Again, take that pause and watch and then over time see the result of your action, and from there work backward. Look at your action. Okay, so you see your result of the action. Look at your action. Look at your mind. Go back, observe, see where you can change things. If it's your fault, maybe it's good to apologize, for example, right?
Hôm nay quý vị trở về tại nơi thiền viện đây để thực tập ngồi thiền, đi thiền hành và học lại như lời của Phật dạy. Đây là một việc làm thiện tốt. Chúc quý vị cùng toàn thể gia đình luôn được an vui và hạnh phúc.
He wishes to you to continue practice so that you can bring joy and happiness to yourself as well as people around you. Do you have any questions about anything? Not just today's lecture. Does anyone don't not understand when we first started? We took 3 bows to the floor, right? Head to the ground, right? Does anyone understand why we do that? No. Okay. So 3 bows meaning refuge, 3 refuge, right? The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. That's it. 3 refuge. Why do we bow our head to the ground? What do you think?
Humble.
Respect.
Respect, yes. What else? You think maybe a good reason? Pardon me?
Gratitude, you think?
Gratitude, yes.
Less ego.
Yes, right. There's an act of less ego.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because in most culture, the head is the top, right? Most important thing, right? Like in Asian culture, if you're older, if you're younger, you don't touch elder on the head. That's disrespectful, right? Same thing in India. It was back in those days. And then in India, when they bow back then, is your teacher would sit, and when you give respect to your teacher, you would bow your head between the feet, and your hand touch his feet. That's back in India. Now in China, things change a little bit, and other countries change a little bit, but that's basically. But we take refuge in the Buddha. What does taking refuge in the Buddha mean? Anybody have? So, taking refuge meaning you follow his example of his life, right? And his teaching. And when you look at the Buddha, this is just a statue. This is not the Buddha. But why do we have the image of the Buddha there? Yes, you have
And
it.
as somebody said, we're looking at ourselves, we're
Right.
looking here.
Just like you look in the mirror. Like he said, I am the Buddha, but you are the Buddha to be. So there's Buddha nature in all of us, except we don't recognize it, and we don't manifest it, and we don't live with it, right? So when we look at the Buddha, it's a reminder, just like in meditation, remind ourselves to come back to the present, right? When we have the Buddha there, it reminds us, let's say if you're angry, you got here and you got cut off, you're angry, right? First thing you look at that, can you be angry when you look at the image of the Buddha and what it signifies? No, right? So what happened is, when you see that and you change your anchor, that means the Buddha is arising. The Buddha nature is rising within us, right? We take refuge in the Buddha and reminds us about his teaching, right? What he learned and what he passed on. So take refuge in the Dharma is what? The Dharma is the teaching itself, right? His words. But that doesn't mean that you follow it blindly. Okay, that's very important in Buddhism. All his teaching is for you to reflect, to practice, and identify whether it works for you to bring you to Buddha nature or Nibbana. If it doesn't help you, forget it. Find another path within his teaching. Because everyone works differently, right? Just like Buddhists, there's Buddhists that don't meditate, but they pray. That's their way of meditating, is recite the sutra continuously, where they become one mind. That's another way. So for other people, sitting meditation works better for them to calm the mind. So there's many different ways. There's, like he said, there's over 84,000 ways to practice, right? But he's give you all this teaching, and as long as you follow the Four Noble Truth, then it's the Buddha's teaching, right? And so we take refuge in the Sangha, and then we take third one. We take refuge in the Sangha. Sangha is what the community of Buddhist practitioners, not only monks and nuns, include lay people that are practicing the Dharma. Okay? Why do we take refuge in the Sangha? Because that's the community that help us along, that teach us, right? If without the monks and nuns, we wouldn't have Buddhism. Buddhism wouldn't exist today. It would be gone a long time ago. So we pay respect to the Sangha for that, right? To carry on the teaching. Without the teaching, without them, we wouldn't know anything about Buddhism. Right? So that's the reason we bow our head down. And then we bow our head down is because this is important, right? This is your ego right here, right? Just like, having to kneel down, right? And so when we're praying, we put our head down, we're saying, I let go of my ego. I let go of the I. I am with the earth. Right? Nothing can happen here. If I let go of everything, just like the earth, water run through it, fire can burn, but nothing happens. It's just there. Right? Let go completely of your ego. So that's the reason we bow. It's not a reason where, okay, he's a God, and we have to bow for him for any other reason. He's not a God. He's a person. He just learned the way, and through his wisdom, liberated himself, and he gave us that teaching. Any questions about that or anything else? Yes.
You probably already know this, but a lot of Westerners maybe are not too excited about too much bowing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to some ceremonies where we bow maybe 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets a little difficult. I think for a Westerner, there's just something, our idea of individuality
Right.
and independence and
Mhm.
freedom and all that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I understand the purpose of the bowing,
Yeah.
and I've adapted to it, but yeah, it's kind of difficult psychologically.
Yeah, there's one lineage in China that bowing is a practice of meditation. You bow, I think it was like 1,000 times a day. First thing in the morning, 1,000 times a day. That can be very long. You won't get fat, no matter how much you eat. It's good for you. But there's a particular way of bowing that is good for your back. But what happens when you bow that continuously like that? You have to be very focused. You can't do it too slow. You can't do it too fast. And when you focus like that, you're bringing your concentration to one point. Just like if you're sitting in meditation, you're focusing on your breath, focusing on anything other than your thoughts. So it's another form of meditation. Just as if we're doing walking meditation, there's different techniques for walking meditation. In the Theravada tradition, certain Theravada tradition, they concentrate on the touching of the ground, the movement of the body. Right? Again, bringing that one point of focus. So we get concentrated. So any thought that comes in is it moves through you, and it doesn't take you away. And so if you understand the bowing, it's very helpful. One of my Buddhist teacher, he did 10,000 bows. He and his other monk, 10,000 bows, to the point where he was so tired that one time he bowed, he kind of fell asleep, and the other monk had to wake him up. But it's also a practice. Yes.
See, I grew up Muslim, so my mom bows so many times. She actually has like, I don't know, you think it's a scar, but from how often she does it, it leaves a mark, she's a mark.
Uh-huh.
So when I came here and started bowing, and I was wondering now what's the difference.
Uh-huh.
So thank you for explaining, because even then I didn't understand what we're doing, what we're doing. Like read stuff in Arabic and I don't understand Arabic, so I don't know why I'm reading what I'm reading. And it doesn't bring me comfort since I don't understand. It feels like if I was praying for something outside, like I'm trying to use the rituals to help somebody else.
Yeah.
The God outside. But it doesn't help me.
Yeah. So I have to say something about ritual. Is that Buddhism have changed after 2,500 years. Right? Some schools are more ritual-like. Some are not. Right? But the Buddha, in his teaching, said get rid of the ritual. The more important thing is focus on your mind, focusing on your action, your speech, and your thoughts. The ritual are not important. Only if you bring the concentration of mind, body, speech in the ritual, then it can be the same. But ritual, just for ritual, is useless.
This is the funny thing. So we have like, we go like maybe 4 or 5 times, and my mind used to wander so much about I'll forget. Am I on the second one? Am I on the third one? Which number am I? Do I need to start again? You know, then you feel like your prayer is not getting answered because you're not, I didn't know you have, now to have the concentration, I could probably remember which number I'm in, but my mind wanders halfway through the prayer.
Yeah, and some lineage, when they bow, they manifest skillful thoughts. So they're practicing manifesting good thoughts, skillful thoughts, or compassionate thoughts. So that's another practice, right? You have a question?
I just wondering, curious, since being a monk and with that practice of bow, does that have to do with the body health too? So, you know, when they do that much, when I do that much, I do feel soreness in the muscle. So I'm wondering if that, in the teaching to not just for mind, but build the body health at the same time, is that one of the reasons?
Well,
Anywhere that we mention that?
no, there's no mention in the teaching itself, in the sutra, about bowing as being a physical exercise. No. Back in those days, you know, during the Buddha time, they go for alms. So they go out down to the village, could be walking kilometers or miles to get, you know, get food. And, you know, and they only ate once a day. And some lineages still do most Theravada and eat once a day, you know, and that's sufficient for them to practice. They use the rest of the day for practicing meditation. Yeah. Any other questions or contribution? Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. So Vance is going to be here. You met Van? He was interpreting several times here. Yeah, he's going to be here next few weeks since I'm going to Spain this Sunday.
You're going to Spain?
Yeah, Spain, Morocco, and Portugal. Vacation.
Oh, vacation. So
Yeah.
not meditation retreat or?
No, not a
Okay.
meditation retreat. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Very,
Have a
very
good night.
often meditation.
Okay.
Morning, lunch,
How often? How
night,
often do you meditate?
meditation.
I try and do it once.
Thường ngồi thiền,
And now
sáng, trưa, chiều,
I
tối.
should do twice,
Yeah.
but
Nhớ ngồi thiền.
Yeah, remember, sitting. There's different aspects of meditation, right? It's not just sitting.
Yeah.
Sitting has
Yes,
its benefit.
Mind, very body, happy.
I try to do it when I get upset.
Yes.
When I get stressed.
Good.
No chance.
Yeah. When you have stress, meditation is good. Those, you know, meditation has to be useful in your life. It has to bring less stress, right? That's the whole point of it, right? That you can have more control of your life. So when you get into a difficult situation, that's the best time to train the mind, right? It's just like, think about sitting meditation as working with the weights, a 5-pound weight, right? You can do that forever. You're not going to build very much muscle, right? And then if you get in an argument and you're able to meditate, that's like carrying a 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And if you can stay calm there, you're strong, right? So think about that. So every aspect of your life can be in meditation. Washing the dishes, walking to the car, keep one point of focus. Do it, whatever you do, same thing. You know, whether you just focus on the touching, use your senses as the point of focus on the meditation, right? Or focus on your breath. Right? When you touch something, what does it feel like? What does it taste like? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it cold? Is it warm? All that, right? Because eventually, when you get deeper into meditation, your senses will be more keen, more sensitive, and you will be able to sense temperature in your body. Our body isn't just 98 degrees everywhere. Certain areas are colder and warmer, very subtle. So if we continue to practice this, we start to be able to do that. And even your hearing, right now, if you were in a meditative state, you could be sitting here, somebody drop a pin down there, you'll be able to hear it as loud as it is here. That's how sensitive you can be. The senses, because you're not distracted anymore. Right? Your senses are completely open. Right? And when we get more sensitive to that, then our minds become more sensitive, and it is able to catch thought quicker. Right? When we think that we're catching a thought during a meditation, probably 1,000 thoughts have already gone through and you've missed it. Right? So we're learning focusing, concentration to help us to catch all those until to the point where you will be able to see the seed of thoughts before it becomes a complete full thought. But what you'll find is some of those seeds, oftentimes there's 3 seeds: anger, hatred, delusion, and another one, greed. Usually those are the seeds that manifest the thought, whatever they may be. Whether the thought is past about the past, future, or present.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a question, but I wanted to tell Tay how much what he's taught us has helped me. And I went hiking last week in Glacier Park. My husband wanted to do this really long, steep hike, and I was really afraid because of bears and we're older, we're gonna fall and get hurt, and there's no cell service and stuff. And when I could just concentrate, I remember Tay told us to stand up, sit up and stand up straight, and I just do my pulls and one after the other and concentrate on my breath. And I have to say, it gave me strength that I needed. And when I got up there, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I was able to enjoy things much more than I have in the past because I wasn't so, well, I'm still worried, but I wasn't as worried as I might have been if I hadn't come here to learn some of that. And in the morning my husband and I were doing this, doing this to get the circulation going and stuff, and it just helped to make our vacation so much better. And I guess that's maybe just a little bit of the meditation or the benefit that I've gotten from coming here. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Cô nói cô cảm ơn thầy dạy thiền cho cô, vì cô sẽ cố áp dụng được đó trong đời sống. Như cô kể lại tuần trước cô đi leo núi cao lắm, cô sợ. Hồi giờ cô nhớ thầy nói là sống trong hiện tại, cứ đi bước cầm như vậy, thì cô nhẩm đó, xong rồi cô quên cái sợ hãi của cô, xong rồi vui lên. Yeah, see, so you notice what happens when you were suffering. It's what? Fear, right?
Fear.
But where did that fear come from?
Because I was afraid for myself.
No.
Oh my God.
The fear is from not being present. Because you're thinking about the future. What if the bear comes? What if I can't make it? What if? So fear resides in the future. Because what? Future, we don't know what the future is, right? So when we don't know something, it brings us fear because we have no control, right? So that's why it's so important to be present. When you're present, you're no longer living in the future. There's less worry, there's less fear. And when there's less fear or worry, there's less suffering from the unknown. And you stay present. And you enjoy the experience of being, right? Everything's more enjoyable. A little less fear, right?
It's
Thank you. cây ở chùa này.
Yeah.
Có